This panel will be about the partner's perspective. We will have also the opportunity to engage in conversation by making questions, I hope. We will try to understand how relevant this project was for the partners, for the organizations that participated, and also the staff. What impact has produced, but also we need to look to the future. And we have two questions for our panel. Our panel is representatives from each of the beneficiary partners. Of course, Pedro Neves already spoke about the absence of Mr. Alexander Volbach from Bremen Service. I presume no one will be on his behalf. But anyway, we have participants and from Bremen, and they can also take the word when we give the word to the audience. So without any further ado, we have representatives from our, let's say, beneficiary partners. All of them, I don't need to go as deep as it is in the book, but all of them are very experienced prison staff with experience on the front end and also on management and also in representation of colleagues. So let's take the utmost of them, and we would like to start. And this question will be these two questions will be. We will require each of you to give some input about them, and the questions are relevant. Is the need to update the prison officer professional profile and training framework in your organization? And connected to this question is how did the experience in the project, these products and these recommendations that we already have presented shortly, may already or may have impact in the future. So on one hand, how important this is to look to the profession profile and how to train these professionals, and secondly, what is already the impact achieved by the project, and what do you think might be the trends and impact in the future? So let's start with you, Carlos.
Formation is always mandatory for being a prison guard, and it's always needed to be evolving as a prison guard. Not only prisons evolve, prisoners also evolve. And we, as a corps of prison guards, must evolve also. The formation that was given for me 20 years ago is already outdated. It must be also always improved and reinforced. It's being rather slowly, but it's being. In the other countries, it's always the same, for what I hear for the other countries. It should be, as Natasha said, a more advanced, proficuous formation for the empowerment of the prison guard itself, because the prison guard is a key personage, a key factor, a key stakeholder in the how shall I say it, reintegration, re-education, rebuild. Maybe rebuild is the proper word of the individual. We as prison guards need, urge formation for a better for a better service from us. The second was
But what impact do you think we already achieved, and what could we expect in the future from this project?
so from this project we learned a lot. We enriched ourselves with the experiences from other countries, from other points of views, and the project with the fair guidance can be very perspicuous to the future if the stakeholders take the care of it, read it properly, and apply some of the key guidelines. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Adrian.
Thank you. Well, talking about the relevance of the project and the relevance of the theme, there are two areas that I can address. One would be the general one, and that fits very well what you said. It's generally valid also for Romania. Everything that you said, the importance of the training and the importance of investing in the prison officers. And one more thing would be added, actually, that if we look at our prison officers that works in direct contact on the sections and on the wings, I'm not referring to the management positions, of course, but if you look at this character of our story, you or the society, the administration, the ministries, wants this person to be a universal soldier, more or less, call it that way. I mean, you have to have there a strong person, an a person that has a lot of equilibrium, a person that acts as a role for the inmates. But also you need that person to be a psychologist. Well, of course, not one with a diploma, but a person that can go through a conflict, can have this kind of diffusion, the conflicts, also to have a very good, to be supportive, to be empathic, to help the person in front of him to go through a rough period of life, which is being imprisoned. Then again, you need also this person, this character of our story, you need him to be a physician, a doctor. Whenever it's a problem, he can give the first aid. Of course, not make a treatment, but also to be there. So at least now we have 3 professions, okay, from now. Then also we had this beautiful example of a prison officer teaching an inmate how to read. Okay, so he needs to be a teacher as well. Okay. Besides that, of course, this person needs to address to different administrative issues. So he also needs to be a bit of a, how can I say, office person, to know how to write reports and how to communicate and how to be, well, all those being said, we talk about the same person, and that same person has to follow a training. Okay. We have in different countries, in all the countries, we have at least a school or a training, initial training that should be followed. But as Carlos said, some of the curriculas are coming from the past. Okay, it's the same thing. Closed doors, open doors, yeah, these kind of issues. Usually, it's a big emphasis on the security. I met a guy once, and it was in charge of a prison, and for him it was all about security. It was all about security. Well, the society wants security, yes, but please take a look further and see that if you really invest in rehabilitation and if you really invest in reintegration of the inmates, then the society would be more safe. So this kind of paradigm appear. We moved from the strict, static, dynamic security. We moved to we moved from the static security to dynamic security. Now we talk about flex security sometimes. I don't know, could be. We talk about different challenges of technologies. Some of the prison officers, not in Romania, I have to admit that, but in other countries, some of the prison officers are quite experienced, 20, 25 years of experience in service. I'm saying that because Romania, and this is the specific example to refer to, Romania faced since 2016 a huge wave of retirement of prison officers. Okay, we responded, the system responded with an increased hiring mechanism. But what we did actually is that nowadays, well, we are 13,000 prison staff, and we have something like 24,000 inmates, 24,000 inmates, yes, so that would be just a figure to say. But to refer only to the 13,000 of prison officers, 60% of them have less than 5-year experience. So it's a different challenge in our case, because we lose some experienced staff, we gain some new staff, it's energetic, but has no experience at all. So that's why, and then we come to the statement of therein. It's a different generation with different learning path, different learning habits. So we really need to have this kind of projects. Again, we need to look at well, it was a project where, and this is something about the partnership, it was a project not done by Romanians for Romanians, you know, ignoring everything else. It was a project done by all of us, looking to our specificities and our common things. And once again, it was very, very important, and this is one of the recommendations as well. We need to involve also the academics. So it's not only the prison, okay, we know, but we also need the legitimacy of what we feel. And yeah, we spoke from the heart, but the academics said, well, you know, this really proves and can be sustained in society because it has also scientific backup. So from our side, yeah, we are very pleased to have this approach, which is, as I mentioned, relevant for us. And again, what was, and to refer to the repository of the project, actually, well, you have things at a click distance. You don't imagine. I mean, I had the chance to work with most of the institution. Well, not myself directly, but the prison service in Romania and me as a trade union. But I'm still I'm a prison officer and work for the Romanian prison service. I had the chance to work with the people here and their institution, and I know for sure that there are good things there, but it's not always easily to reach. Well, it would be maybe the time, like we do with the PO21, to put the things in common, and the repository does that. So is very, very important. Okay, thank you very much.
I'm sure you had a lot more to say, but if we have time,
Yeah, I told you, don't give
Kathleen.
Okay, it's always difficult to be the third because the first speaker and the second say a little bit the same that I wanted to say. But first of all, I want to thank the founding fathers, Dorin, Adrian, Torben, and Pedro, because without them and without their ideas, in I think now 10 years ago, we will not be here. We will not be at a closing conference, being together and speaking about the prison officer of the 21st century. So I'm very honored to be the sister or the mother of this project, because in no other project we had so many members of the staff of the I will not say it negative, but the people who were on the floor were in this project. It was bottom up. It was the prison officers themselves with their colleagues in other countries. I think they never met before. So I think this was one of the most valuable objects of this project, maybe more than we can write or can put down in booklets. And for me, it was also very unique that we were with trade unions of Portugal and Romania at the same table, because if we see in Belgium, if we have discussions about the profile of the prison officer and we have the trade unions at the table, we always have discussions. So I always look to Carlos, because we never had such an open discussion with our own trade union. So this was also something who was very important for us. But at the same time, the Belgian prison service was in a parallel way, because in 2019 we had a law who was voted that the profile of the prison officer has to be new, has to be open, and has to be split. So we had to split the profile in detention supervisors and security assistants. So there was a focus on security and there was a focus on guidance. And in May last year, we did the first trainings. We opened 2 new prisons, and we will start with that new profile in the new prisons. At the same time, we have opened detention houses. That means that it's a small prison where we have prisoners with a small sentence. And there we started with this new profile of detention supervisors. So parallel with this project and with our new law, I think Belgium has really new ideas, has really another impact on the profile of prison officers. And I think for the first time we can not only give a booklet, but we can give a box also to our training centers, to our big bosses and the Directorate General at the Department of Justice, really to say we made something with our partners, a European project, and I think it's a start, it's not an ending point.
Thank you, Kathleen. So last but not least, Mr. Jorge Monteiro.
Okay, thank you, Tiago. And as Kathleen, when we are trying to make this, to do this reflection about the relevance and when we reach the end of the projects, we always tend to think about the beginning and to think about what was the first idea. And as Kathleen has said, I would also like to address a few words about the partnership and about the partners. At the beginning, when we had the invitation to become partners of this project, it was, well, first of all, it was made by long-time partners. IPS, PSAFE Lab are one of the oldest, not oldest, longest partners of our organization. And so this was a first step for us to accept this project. And then the diversity of the national context, similar organizations, colleagues, and longtime friends from Romania, from Belgium, from Germany, from the land of Bremen. And so this was the second ingredient for a good partnership. And as well, the common needs and common goals. So we all face the same challenges: overcrowding, mental health, inmates with mental health disorders, violent offenders. But especially we share also the same concerns about the continuous improvement of the professionals and their results. So all the ingredients for a good project and a good partnership were here. And so we said yes to this project. And then the Portuguese Prison and Probation Services gathered a small team. We managed to engage 15 professionals of our staff, mainly prison officers, of course, because the topic was on prison officers, but as well governors, deputy governors, senior staff, psychologists, social workers, trainers, managers, and just to name a few. So this team was participating in all the activities, not the 15 at the same time, of course, but we managed to give some contributions to the training actions, to the DACUM workshops, roundtables, and dissemination events. And this is the first relevant output of this project, the possibility, the opportunity for them to share experience, to learn with good practices, and at the end to improve themselves not only in professional skills but also in terms of personal skills. The need to improve and the need to revise the prison officers' competency framework and training curriculum. Yes, we all need to improve, and this improvement must be continuous, but nevertheless, in the national context, we have been doing a lot of work and enormous investment in the training, not only the prison officers, but as well as the rest of the professional categories. But just to mention this prison officer initial training course that we have nowadays in our, 12th edition. And the course already has more than 690 hours of training, 9 thematic areas and 41 modules, composed by theoretical components, practical components, knowledge and training of specific skills, transversal skills, emotional and social relation skills. So the relevance of continuing and the permanent improvement of the training is very important. Nevertheless, the work has been undergoing, and but of course that we need to increase our gradual efforts. Future perspectives and how relevant can these outputs be? Well, I think that now the project is ended, the real work starts. So we need to study, analyze, and interpret the results of the different intellectual outputs. We need to deepen the knowledge of the contextual and national results. We need to look at them and then we need to interpret the results. We also need to analyze and interpret the recommendations, the strategy planning, to incorporate them in the current and future practices. And also we need to enrich the current training curriculum, initial and continuous, with the inclusion of subjects included in the proposed training curriculum, and as well to increase training resources with the inclusion of practical case studies and the examples of critical incidents management manual. So in short, this was, of course, another project of unquestionable quality, great interest, and extremely challenging for the definition of future quality standards for the prison guard sector as well as for the prison system in general. Now that we are closing this project, I can stop thinking about the future projects that I already named, Prison Officer of the 21st Century and beyond.
Thank you, George, and thank you all of you for sharing your thoughts. And we have a lot of topics to discuss further, and we still have time. So I will ask the audience if anyone from what they heard, from what they heard, if they have more questions to our panel. So come here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just a few words from Bremen. It was planned different, but as you know, Alexander is not here. So I will just give a bit of a review about the project. I am one of these half dinosaurs. I am 25 years on service now as a correction officer, still on service. And I remember when I came here the first time, it was last year here in Lisbon, and I remember Pedro was putting a paper on the wall, and it says, what are the needs of a correction officer, or what is the definition of a correction officer? And I remember I sat there and I was like, by that time I had 24 years of experience. I was thinking, why is he giving this question? I mean, it's all clear for me. I mean, why should I actually answer to this question? But then the time came and we were collecting all the different points and items, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. I really forgot about so many things during my career, and it was really good that it was pointing out again. So, and from that point, we had a very good work base, and also I was privileged. I was in all 4 meetings. Some faces are very familiar now for me. I will call them friends now. And but the interaction between between us was very, very nice. And it was mentioned before, we have different work areas, we have different laws and rules, but in the end we have kind of the same challenges. And it was really, really a pleasure to figure out that we all work at the same thing and we want to make it better, and especially for the future. And I see this project as an anchor point, because what we don't need is dust on our quality. And this is what it's all about, quality. Because me as a correction officer, or a correctioner in general, is very close to the beat. It is a dynamic process, what we're doing every day. And it's one thing if we have the definition of what a correction officer is, but it's another thing that the correction officer itself understand his or her role. That's the most important part. Just a quick example, I will not say too many words about, but just a quick example. To explain my young officers, for example, in the context of radicalization, what pull and push factors are, that was a big wake-up call for them, for example, because then they realize, okay, if I do this, I may push him even further in the corner, but if I act that way, I may get in touch with him in a different way. We have a partner system in our prison where I work. So that was just a quick example. So it is a dynamic process, and 25 years of experience, I can only say in the end, I learned a lot in this project, and I can highly recommend this project, and I'm really, really, really looking forward for the future, what will change, what will stay. There might be some things, they will be kicked out, probably, because, like I said, it's a dynamic process, but I'm really looking for the future, and yes, I can say I am proud to be a correction officer. And I will never whisper it if I'm asked. I will just say it loud. I'm a correction officer and I love my job. Thank you very much.
Well, that was not prepared. It was amazing. I should say that you made me think that maybe we will ask other participants if they want to answer these questions, if they want to give some contribute to what has been said here, or if you want just to make more questions to these experts. Oh, sorry, my timer.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Jörg Lorenz. I'm part of the advisory board member. I'm part of the advisory board. I just would like to highlight from my side, from my perspective, I have been in the project from the beginning. We're allowed to follow several meetings and the outcome now. And to me, the perfect outcome would be if you among correctional officers talk about dynamic security, human rights, and the development in correctional service among Europe states, and we're all on the same page. That would be the perfect outcome. And I think this is the perfect goal to go there. The project is really aiming the right target.
Okay. I forgot Mr. Gustav had previously asked.
Thank you so much. My name is Gustav Talving. I'm director of Europris, also a member of the advisory board. So thank you again for your presentations and for inviting us to the conference. I have a question for Kathleen. So you mentioned the split of prison officer role into two roles. I would like to hear a bit more about the rationale behind that decision and how you plan to implement it. Thank you.
At a certain moment, we have a director general who is studying the staff since years, and he came to the conclusion that the climate, how a prison governor is involved with an inmate, that the relation, if you are doing it on security base, it's completely different if you are at an other distance, like a guidance. So we split up the job, and the prison officers who are already in the staff could choose, or you will become the security assistant, and that means that they will do the cold security, that in the not in the cellulary, and they have no direct contact with the inmates. They will be at the security with cameras. They will be at the outside, at the entrance. And then we have another profile of the detention supervisors. They have a specific training. I agree with Adrian when he said you have to be a psychologist and you have to be a social worker. It's more that profile. So they are more close. They are really the guiders of the inmates to give more direction to the way of reintegration. I will not say that they replace the social workers. They will not make reports, but they feel more closer with the inmates, and they don't have to think about the call security. It's a pilot project because the unions, the trade unions, didn't agree that we installed this profile in every prison. So we have to start in the new prison of Brussels in Haren, and in the new Flemish prison of Dendermonde, and in the detention houses. But we see that it's necessary that we start in small prisons, because it's for everybody. It's a click in the head you had to make, and it's not because we have such a project like PO21 that we have members of the staff who were involved and who were thinking with us. We have 9,000 other staff members in Belgium who are not thinking at the same. So we are looking now for 300 extra detention guiders, because we really want to start with a new prison with new staff. You cannot ask to everybody to change. Some people started the job with another philosophy and with another intention, so we also respect that.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Yeah.
Yes. We are getting short in time now.
Yeah. Just a very quick response on what was said before. Also, this project gives us the chance to act more, let's say, more free. It was just said about dynamic security and human rights. Within this project, for example, it can also be an eye-opener. It sometimes takes but I fought for my right to run classes in the Nelson Mandela rules now, and I'm allowed to do so. Within this new modern profile of a correction officer, it should also be implemented, and it's very important to use the resources you already have. So it sometimes doesn't cost anything extra, maybe some nerves, but in the end, the success gives you always right. That's the thing. Thank you very much.